Why does this phone exist? Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? And I actually don't really mean to be so harsh when it comes to this phone, the Galaxy S8 Active. It's available on AT&T, and you can of course get it on that carrier if you're looking for a ruggedized version of the Galaxy S8 or the S8 Plus. But I wanted to go through a few reasons why I think the Active line has kind of lost its way. It finds itself in a very interesting position because it's trying to provide features that are different from its original counterparts, but the original counterparts are kind of already stellar. So before I kind of rant about a couple of the pet peeves that I have with the Galaxy S8 Active, I do want to give you guys a bit of a story. Back in 2015, I went to E3, and I was fulfilling a bit of a personal dream by going to one of the biggest gaming conventions. But I was distracted the entire time because just a couple of months prior to that, they announced the Samsung Galaxy S6 Active. Now, the Galaxy S5 Active did come out just a year prior, so the Active line wasn't necessarily new, but I loved the look of especially the stealth black S6 Active, and I knew I just had to get my hands on it. And once I did, I realized why I really did love that device. It was at that point that Samsung changed their design language with the Galaxy S6 to glass-on-glass with a metal body. Whereas glass-on-glass bodies were going to become the future of our smartphones, I was trying to cling to a past where we had sturdier, meatier plastic phones in comparison to all of the phones we have, let's say today, which kind of go for a slimmer, let's say more delicate design. And I still kind of feel the same way about phones today. We have so many glass-on-glass designs right now that plastic phones like this are incredibly rare. And if you saw my daily driver video regarding the BlackBerry Key 1, you could tell that I gravitate towards phones that don't really follow that pack. But then there comes a bit of a problem. While the Galaxy S8 Active is still continuing everything that the Active line does, putting great specifications from the original Galaxy S device and putting it into a meatier body, unfortunately the original Galaxy line has already perfected its own design. Samsung has made the Infinity display not only a great piece of eye candy, but one of the main features and the main ways that Samsung can put a larger screen on a smaller device. So it's because of that the Galaxy S8 Active doesn't really put off the same good vibes that the Galaxy S6 Active had when I bought it. The bezels are so much bigger than we're now used to with all of the phones that have very minimal bezels. And the phone has a heft that, while welcome, is contrary to the kind of slim and light bodies that were once foreign a few years ago but are now the norm. Now, there are very valid reasons to go for a phone like this, because if you're going to drop your phone and you have those butterfingers, or you're just really clumsy all the time, and you drop this phone, you're just going to get scuffs on the back or on the sides, and it's probably going to bounce right back. Unfortunately, when it comes to all of the other phones in Samsung's camp, if you were to drop the phone, one side of glass could potentially crack or shatter. Now, don't get too ahead of yourselves. I won't be dropping this phone yet. There is another phone out there that has protection despite not needing a different kind of body, and that is the LG V30. Now, we don't have our full production units of the LG V30 yet, but what we do know is that it is supposed to be not only IP certified, but also have mil-spec protection. And when the time comes, we're probably going to pit the Galaxy S8 Active against the LG V30 and see which one actually comes out on top, and if a body like the S8 Active is actually required anymore. But not all of it is bad. Like I said, I'm not trying to just trash on the Galaxy S8 Active. There are just a few things that made me think about whether or not a phone like this that I used to love a couple of generations ago should even exist anymore. But a lot of what people love about the Active line does return. You get this kind of body with all of the great specifications underneath. And one of the main features of these phones, because they're heftier and thicker, is a bigger battery. And 4,000 milliamp hours is what you get in the Galaxy S8 Active, 500 over the S8 Plus, and 1,000 more over the original S8. No matter how you slice it, longevity like that is something that everybody wants, and the Active line was able to provide that. But up until now, I've been talking about how other devices have been kind of encroaching on the Galaxy S Active line and its territories. But there's one significant loss in this phone that I just could not get past. And that has to do with my favorite feature of the S6 Active and the other phones before and after it up until now, the Active Key. Anyone who has followed me for the last couple of years knows that I love physical keys. And you're probably sick of hearing me talk about the BlackBerry Key 1. Well, the Galaxy S6 Active was one of my favorite phones because it had an extra key that you could program for tapping or holding for two different applications you could easily open no matter where you are on the phone. It was such a subtle but incredibly powerful tool, and I used it for so many different app combinations, not just for convenience, but for productivity. And when you couple all of that with the long battery life, the S6 Active was actually a phone that could just get stuff done. But in the S8 Active, the key is gone, replaced by the bane of many a current Samsung user's existence, Bigsby. Now, hold on. I do know that Bigsby has been getting better over the last number of months, and that users could kind of go through the learning curve and get quite a bit out of Samsung's Assistant. However, there are still some bugs with it, and I even experienced some in the Galaxy S8 Active. When I press the Bigsby button and it tries to open Bigsby, it actually crashes quite a bit of the time. And if you look at all of the people who tried to customize the Bigsby button to make it do something that they wanted instead, well, that's exactly how I feel about the S8 Active, because in previous versions of this phone, we literally got a button that did just that. I was really excited to use the active line again, and I was actually having a good time with it, but I couldn't get over the fact that I didn't have that active key anymore because I was so used to it in the S6 Active that I personally bought. There are a lot of people out there who probably really want an active version of the Galaxy S8, and more power to you. If you're looking specifically for features that set the S8 Active apart, like its rugged looks and bigger battery, then go and have at it. But unfortunately for a user like me that used to love the active line for way more than just those features, the list of reasons has shrunken under the ever-expanding list of things that Samsung is trying to do. It's a jump forward, followed by just a bit of a stumble back. Head into the comments down below and let us know what you think about the Galaxy S8 Active or any of the active phones if you were like me and you actually got one in the past. And then stick around because we're going to have so much more here at Android Authority, so you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop us some likes on these videos because we love to see those thumbs up. From there, you can stick around and head on over to AndroidAuthority.com for even more, because we are your source for all things Android.